He can say all day long that the devil made him do it, but he is the devil.
It has been a long journey for Elizabeth Thomas to come to grips with what a teacher, a mentor, did to her. But yesterday in a courtroom, the latest chapter closed when she faced the man who took her, 52-year-old Tad Cummins, as he pled guilty to taking a minor across state lines for sex in a case that gripped the country.
New tonight, 15-year-old Elizabeth Thomas. Her family reported
15-year-old girl and 50-year-old man
at the center of a nationwide Amber Alert.
It all started in the spring of 2017 in the small town of Culleoka, Tennessee, a farming community of about 5,000. Tad Cummins is a popular teacher at the high school.
He was the cool teacher. Everybody loved him. He was everyone's friend, everyone's mentor, helped so many people through so many things.
Then 15-year-old Elizabeth Thomas is just making the transition from homeschool to public school. She says Cummins, at the time 50 and married with 2 daughters, takes her under his wing.
He gave me a Bible. It was just something from him.
That kindness even extending outside the classroom, taking Elizabeth to church on Sundays with his wife.
Did you ever think anything of their interactions together?
It was like a father-daughter relationship. It's the way I saw it, too. It's the way he would explain it. In fact, I called her our third daughter sometime.
Elizabeth's family attorney thinks Cummins recognized she was a vulnerable target.
He was specifically grooming this child for a very specific purpose, and that was a relationship. He chose a girl that was clearly having issues because she went to him for quote-unquote counseling. She was the perfect victim.
The two began communicating on Instagram, Cummins posting, "You're all my heart ever talks about. It was love at first sight, at last sight." Then there's Elizabeth's response. "I look forward to going to school just to see you. I love you."
Most of them from him would be sexual text.
He would sexually text you?
Yes.
Then, alone with Elizabeth in his classroom, she says Cummins goes a step further.
And then next thing I know, he said, "You look pretty nice naked." Whenever he first kissed me, that was whenever I realized this is getting too far.
A student reported seeing Elizabeth Thomas kissing Tad Cummins inside of his classroom. The student was very disturbed by what she saw, and she immediately went to report it to school officials.
The school investigates, but Elizabeth denies everything.
Children spend the majority of their day with their teachers in school. And so that power dynamic almost takes the place of the parent-child relationship. What child is going to speak out against the person that is in control of the majority of their lives?
The school suspends Cummins for inappropriate conduct with Elizabeth. Over the following weeks, Cummins continues reaching out to her over social media and hatches a plan to run off with her, telling her he'll hurt himself or someone else if she doesn't go along. So on the morning of March 13th, she leaves her home, seen here in this surveillance video obtained by ABC News. At 8:32 a.m., Cummins stops at a local gas station and fills up his tank, and then picks Elizabeth up at a Shoney's restaurant.
He set a gun in the middle console, and I knew that I wasn't getting out of the car.
And you knew then?
I wasn't getting out of this.
By that evening, Elizabeth's father reports her missing. A manhunt for Cummins is officially underway.
The TBI issued an Amber Alert for Mary Catherine Elizabeth Thomas.
Her distraught family makes a desperate cry for her safe return.
We really miss you. I miss you. Please, please come home.
Cummins' wife Jill making an emotional plea for his return.
Tad, this is not you. This is not who you are. We can help you get through this.
For 38 days, he drags Elizabeth on a cross-country trek through 9 states, evading authorities.
He made me throw my phone off a bridge and his phone as well. That way the police couldn't track us. And then he disconnected the GPS by a screwdriver in the glove compartment, and he broke off the front, and then he unhooked the radio. It was like a kidnapping. I had to stay in the car with him at all times.
She says Cummins made her sleep without clothes on, hiding them from her and watching her every move.
He called me his wife sometimes, and he said that we were going to get married and that I was going to live with him until I died.
As days turn into weeks, Cummins decides to take his victim south of the border by kayak.
So he got a kayak and he wanted to kayak all the way to Panama.
At what point did you decide, okay, this is a bad idea, I'm turning around?
Whenever one wave nearly killed us, like took us over. Once we finally got out of it, I was so happy.
Cummins then sets his sights on a remote part of Northern California. The two are offered temporary shelter from local resident Griffin Berry. Cummins makes up a story about why he came to California.
He's like, yeah, we had a house fire. I think he like lost his job. They're just trying to start a new life. But I was like, I'll help you out. I put him in the cabin.
But Barry senses something strange with the girl.
I was like, that girl won't talk, you know, to me really or anything.
Barry's neighbor shows him Elizabeth's Amber Alert.
I saw a photo of the guy and I was like, that's definitely him.
Then what did you guys decide to do?
We went and called the police.
Authorities race to the area and a SWAT team surrounds the cabin where Cummins and Elizabeth are staying.
The day that the police show up.
That was the best day of my life.
Less than 24 hours later, Elizabeth flies home to Tennessee, starting a journey of healing and understanding.
I know he's a bad man, and I blame myself a lot, but now I know that he's at fault. He himself made him do it.
It is extremely common for victims, especially child victims of sexual assault, sexual predation, to blame themselves. I think it is one of the reasons why sexual assault is the most underreported crime in our country. It's because people not only believe that they will not be believed, they blame themselves for it even occurring in the first place.
Elizabeth facing Cummins in court yesterday with a powerful message for her captor, saying in part, "You preyed upon a vulnerable girl and robbed her childhood. For the last 2 years, I've been picking myself up piece by piece and proving to myself that I am much, much stronger than you convinced me I was. Your choices destroyed not just my family, but also yours." Elizabeth asked the judge to sentence Cummins to 38 years in prison, 1 for every day he kept her. Ultimately, the judge decided on 20 years.
He will have to spend the majority of the 20 years in prison. He will have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. And he will never be able to be alone with a child again.
Elizabeth is focusing on what she can, moving on.
What are your dreams for your life?
To have a family and protect them, make them have a better life. I'm a stronger person than I was, and I'm not afraid.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.